Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Montel Jackson versus Rani Yahya. Montel Jackson has every physical advantage possible. He's 30 years old in his prime compared to Rani Yahya, who's 38. Jackson has 3 inches of height, 7.5 inches of reach, and he's also got a 12-2 record, which means not a lot of mileage on him, just the right amount of mileage. Rani Yahya, again, 38 years old. This will be his 40th fight, so he's got a lot of miles on him, and he's, again, at a distinct physical disadvantage here. Technically, Rani Yahya is much better than anybody, really, with jiu-jitsu, and he certainly got the jiu-jitsu advantage in this matchup, but Montel Jackson should be the better wrestler and will be the better striker. Rani Yahya's pure submissions. He has, again, 40 fights, doesn't have one TKO victory. Not one, even by a fluke, by a cut, by a fucking leg injury, by a fluke knockout punch. Not one of them. Not even by TKO from the full mount. You know, it's insane that he doesn't have one finish. But he does have 21 submission finishes in those 28 fights. In 28 wins. 21 submission victories. We've seen plenty of them in the UFC. And he's got 7 decision victories. We've seen a good chunk of them in the UFC as well. Rani Yahya, for a pure grappler, his skills have gotten him incredibly far. Incredibly far. I mean, Damian Maia, you could say, was a pure grappler too, but he had some knockdown power, if not knockout power, and he put together some good striking over the years. Rani Yahya, he knows how to strike. Sure, he's been fighting in a cage for 20 years, but it's very limited, and he doesn't even have the power that, you know, can surprise somebody. Montel Jackson, he does have power. He's got 12-2 record. The 12 wins include 6 by TKO, 1 submission, and 5 decisions. The 1 submission comes against, ironically, maybe one of the better submission guys he's fought, Brian Kelleher. Not the best, but certainly one of the best. And he tapped him out in, 90 seconds with a Darce. I believe it was a Darce, anyway. The last fight he had was against, who the hell did he beat? Julio Arce. And Julio Arce is no slouch, so that was a very good win for Montel Jackson. Jackson's only been defeated twice, Ricky Simone and Brett Johns. Brett Johns was around the UFC a few years ago, but he's a very good fighter. Very good fighter, Brett Johns. Now he's over in Bellator, I believe. But Montel, he was bested by grappling there. I mean, Ricky Simone's a monster everywhere, but if Rani Yahya had better wrestling, I would have much more faith in him to win this fight. The way Rani Yahya is going to win this fight, I think, if he does win, would probably be by submission. Or if he's able to control Montel by pulling guard and sweeping or some horseshit, you know. But I don't think he's going to be able to control him. Montel Jackson is an athlete in his prime, and he should have every athletic advantage every which way against Rani Yahya. And probably a better wrestler technically, and definitely a better striker. And with the power for Montel winning, I don't know if I can go with decision. I mean, Rani Yahya's been finished 3 times, but they were all like 14 years ago, at a minimum. Rani Yahya's got 10 losses, 2 come by knockout to Joseph Benavidez and Kid Yamamoto, 2 of the best fighters ever. And the 1 submission loss comes very early to a fresh JZ Cavalcanti, who, if you don't remember him or know him, he was an amazing fighter for his day, you know, world class. And that won't happen again. You know, maybe Montel will submit him. What the fuck do I know? But Rani Yahya should be, you know, on paper, impossible to submit. It happened once. I suppose it can happen again. But my point is, the last 7 losses for Rani Yahya, or maybe like the last 6 or so, but every loss in the last 14 years comes by decision. And for a guy who's now 38, he went through all those years without getting finished once and fighting at the UFC level. He's been in the UFC for a very long time. And I've been impressed with Rani Yahya, even if he falls flat on his face Saturday night. I've been very impressed with how he's held up, you know, as a purist, a jiu-jitsu purist, pretty much. But to give a pick for this fight, I'll go Montel Jackson by decision. But it's hard to bet on that because Montel Jackson, if he's winning this fight, winning a fight against Rani Yahya, he's probably going to be on the feet, and it's tough to imagine them striking and Montel Jackson getting the better of him and not knocking him out because Rani Yahya is just so limited, you know. But Rani Yahya, I imagine if Montel was to win the decision, Rani would insist on grappling, probably do a lot of, shooting in and tying him up, but failing to actually wrangle him to the ground. And for my bets, betting on Rani Yahya's submission line, especially in rounds 1 and 2, and whatever. Rani Yahya, there's all the value on him. I think he's a guy that would probably need to win by submission, but he can lace up any limb, any which way, and have a good shot at getting a sub. So I think there's definitely value on Rani Yahya, but still, I can't pick him to beat Montel Jackson here. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.